Darkness surrounded me as a sudden, stabbing pain tore through my stomach, knocking the breath out of me. I doubled over, clutching my abdomen, my body trembling. What the hell was happening to me? After what felt like forever, the pain dulled enough for me to stand. I stumbled to the bathroom, rinsing my mouth. But when I looked up at the mirror, I barely recognized myself. My makeup was a mess, and my face was deathly pale. Alone and helpless, I couldn't hold back the sobs. What caused my agony wasn't illness, but Alpha Julian sleeping with Violet. In the werewolf world, betrayal from your mate felt like your soul being ripped apart. The nightmare started 4 years ago. The night of my graduation celebration, I felt that Alpha Julian was my fated mate. Our fathers, lifelong friends, were thrilled and wasted no time arranging our marriage. So naturally, I, Blair Woods, heir to the Silver Moon Pack, became the wife of Julian Drake, heir to the Obsidian Pack. After my father's death, our packs merged. Back then, Julian loved me without hesitation. At least, that's what I believed, until his first love, Violet Hayes, returned. Julian's betrayal kept me awake all night. I waited for him to come home, but he never did. Anger, heartbreak, and desperation churned inside me. I refused to let Violet take everything I had fought so hard to protect, especially not the pack my father left behind. Determined, I took a good shower and put on a dress in Julian's favorite color, a sapphire blue silk gown, and braided my golden hair. My eyelashes were naturally long, but I darkened them with mascara, making my green eyes even more striking. Violet might have been breathtaking, but I wasn't any less. And yet, it's so sad I found I still had to compete with her. I had no appetite for breakfast. Instead, I headed straight to the guest rooms, my heels clicking against the floor. As I passed, the Omegas glanced at me with pity. Such scandals spread fastest among the servants. 2 guards stood at the guest room door. One of them stepped forward, blocking my path. "I'm sorry, Luna Blair, but you can't go in." I narrowed my eyes. "I am his wife, and the Luna of this pack," I said coldly. "You can't stop me." He nervously glanced at the other guard. "We're very sorry, Luna, but Alpha specifically ordered us not to let you in," he said. "You need an appointment to see him." I felt my blood boil. "What? I need an appointment to see my husband?" Before I could push past them, Beta Nash walked up, his voice low. "Luna Blair, Alpha is busy. I suggest you arrange a dinner with him instead." "Beta Nash," I snapped. "How dare you?" Suddenly, I heard a woman's moaning from inside. "Harder, faster." Violet's voice rang out, sultry and satisfied. A fresh wave of pain struck me like a lightning bolt. My knees buckled, and I collapsed to the floor, struggling to breathe. Tears blurred my vision, spilling down my cheeks. "Luna Blair." Beta Nash stood there, unmoving. "I'll send for a doctor," he said before walking away. I lay there, curled up in agony, listening to the continuous sounds of their passion behind the door, and I could do nothing about it. "You're beautiful," my husband said. Not to me, to Violet Hayes. The moment I walked into the ballroom, I spotted Julian and Violet in the center of the dance floor. His arm wrapped around her waist as he gazed at her like she was the only person in the room. I could feel the eyes of the crowd on me, their awkward glances cutting through the air as I stood frozen. I stared at them in disbelief. "Luna Blair, you don't look so well," Omega Ivy said, handing me a glass of lemon water. "Please drink this." "Thanks, Ivy," I said, my voice thick as I fought back the tears. How could I look well? Inside, I was breaking. Since my mate's betrayal 2 days ago, I'd lost all hope in my marriage. And ironically, today was supposed to be our 4th wedding anniversary. Now, it seemed like Violet was the one getting all the attention at our celebration. "Goddess, I've missed you so much, Julian," Violet said, her voice soft and teary. "I can't be at peace without you." She leaned her head against his chest, and he stroked her back, throwing me a quick glance. He sighed. "Violet, I want to fix this situation as much as you do." His words felt like a slap to my face. What exactly did he want to fix? I gritted my teeth, trying to hold it together. I had to fix this, or my whole world would come crashing down. The life I'd built for myself was slipping away. I forced a smile and walked up to them. "Well, Violet, I know this must be very difficult for you, but as you can see, Alpha Julian is my husband, I'm Luna Blair. There's no room for a third person in this marriage, and this pack can only have one Luna. I suggest you work out issues with Alpha Blake. Violet's marriage to Alpha Blake was why she and Julian broke up in the first place, yet she came running back as soon as Julian became Alpha. I turned to Julian and said, "Isn't that right, dear?" Violet's face went pale, her expression crumpling as tears streamed down her cheeks. She let out a choked sob before running off, fleeing the scene. "Violet," Julian called after her. My wolf, Sage, growled in my head. "I want to kill her. Let me shift." "Julian," I said, pushing down Sage's fury, "this is wrong on so many levels." Julian whipped around to glare at me, his jaw clenched. He didn't say a word but turned and walked away. Instead of returning to our bedroom with me, he headed toward Violet's guest room. "Julian," I called out, running after him, but he growled dangerously, warning me to stay away. I flinched and stopped in my tracks, watching him storm off toward her room. No one could help me now. Beta Nash was loyal only to Julian. The Omegas and Warriors snickered behind my back, and the other Luna stopped returning my calls, even canceling events I was supposed to attend. It was clear that I had to take matters into my own hands. I couldn't just sit around and wait for things to get worse. I decided to meet Violet's parents. Her father was Julian's father's Beta. Standing on their porch, a sliver of hope cut through my anger. I thought maybe, just maybe, this Beta would have some honor, like his Alpha Victor. I knocked and took a deep breath, waiting for the door to open. The door opened, and the pack's former Beta Maddox whipped his head back in surprise. "Luna Blair, may I come in?" I asked, my voice soft but firm. "Of course." He stepped aside, narrowing his eyes. His wife Evelyn walked into the room, wiping her hands with a towel, looking me over with curiously. I licked my lips, my throat dry. "It's about Violet," I said. "You need to make her leave Alpha Julian alone. He's my husband." Maddox didn't say a word. Evelyn, however, pursed her lips and shrugged. "They're childhood sweethearts, Luna Blair. Their relationship started long before you joined this pack. They've always been in love. I think you should be the one to leave Alpha Julian, not Violet." I stared at her, stunned. "Evelyn," I snapped, my patience snapping. "Don't you dare snap at me." She rolled her eyes. "Just leave." Humiliation seared through me, sharp and hot, and Sage's primal instinct stirred. I wanted to lash out, but I turned on my heel and walked out. Arguing with Violet's parents was pointless. They only cared about their own interests. All my hopes had been crushed in that moment. When I returned home, Julian was sitting in the hall, with Violet by his side. "Why did you go to Violet's parents?" he growled at me, his eyes burning with fury. "Please, Julian," Violet said softly, her voice dripping with sweetness. "Don't be so angry with her. She only did it out of love." Her eyes were brimming with tears. "I'm the third person in this marriage. I should leave." She stood up to go. "Yes, you should," I blurted out, barely able to control my fury. "You should leave." "Blair," Julian growled, his voice a dangerous rumble. He stood up, looking absolutely livid. I froze, his alpha aura pushing against me, trying to dominate. "Julian, please," Violet begged, wiping her tears. "Don't be so harsh with her." She turned her gaze toward me. "Luna Blair, I know you hate me, but I promise I'll stay away from you." She broke into sobs, and Julian wrapped his arms around her, gently stroking her back. "I fell in love with Julian," she sniffled, looking up at him with desperate eyes. "Alpha Blake abused me for 2 years, and when I couldn't take it anymore, I came back to Julian." Her voice wavered as she turned to face me. I realized my mistake, but it was too late. Julian tightened his hold on her. "Don't cry, Violet. I swear I'll be like a wallflower in this house," she said, choking back her tears, "but please don't throw me out." "No one's throwing you out," Julian snapped at me, his tone cold as ice. "I am the alpha of the Obsidian Pack, and I make all decisions here." He took a deep breath and kissed her right in front of me, wiping away her tears like she was the only one who mattered. Then, he glared at me. "I need to talk to you. Come." I was left speechless, my heart pounding. I followed him to my room, but not before I caught a glimpse of Violet's smirk, victorious. Julian closed the door behind us. "What's wrong with you, Blair?" he growled, his voice full of frustration. "Why can't you just leave Violet alone? She's innocent. I'm the one who wants her. I blinked in disbelief, unable to process his words. She's been telling me she should leave, but you need to understand, she was the girl I loved deeply before you came into my life. I can't leave her. She was abused, beaten, and all she wants now is love and protection. She's not interfering with you, but I'm your mate. I choked out, the words painful. I'm still your wife, the pack's only Luna. Enough, Blair, he growled, cutting me off. It's common for alphas to have lovers besides their Luna. I won't leave Violet. That's my final decision. I stared at him, my heart shattering. Julian, I whispered, my voice trembling. You're still my Luna, he said softly, taking my hand, his touch as cold as his words. Even with all the disgust I felt, my body still responded to his touch. Sage, my wolf, was torn. She still felt a pull toward him, even after everything. Then, suddenly, I caught a scent, a familiar scent, and I knew what it was. Violet was standing outside the door and movement outside the door. Violet was there. To show her what I meant to Julian, I pulled his arm around my waist. The mate bond kicked in, and he instantly pulled me against him. I held on to him, desperately trying to keep my composure. We're mates, Julian. You can't deny this attraction. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Please, I don't want to be like other Lunas. If you feel you can't leave Violet, then reject me. What? Julian's eyes widened in shock. I can't reject you. There's no rejection. Do you hear me? Before I could respond, the door opened and Violet walked in. She let out a cry, covering her mouth with her hand. Julian immediately pulled away from me, and I could see the panic in his eyes. Violet? Her tears spilled over, and without another word, she ran out of the room. Violet? Julian called, chasing after her. I collapsed to the floor, my legs giving out beneath me. I had to do something fast. I stayed there for a long moment, trying to steady my breathing. Finally, I picked up my phone and dialed my best friend Aria's number. Aria was my college roommate, and we'd developed a sisterly bond. We just lost touch after I got married. Her brother, Alpha Dominic Ravencroft, led the world's largest pack, the Thunderforge pack. I'd heard rumors that he could kill 5 wolves at once with his claws and fangs. While our pack had only 170 werewolves, his pack was a powerhouse of 700. But what I knew him best for was his reputation as a notorious player. He never slept with the same girl twice. I'd met him once at Aria's college party, and he'd stared at me like an idiot the whole time. I knew he was a player, so I had no interest in dating him. Things were different now. Alpha Dominic was influential in the Council of Elders, and I knew I needed that power to get out of this miserable marriage and reclaim my father's pack. I called Aria, hoping she could help, but I guess I'm out of luck. She didn't answer. Over the next few days, the pain in my stomach kept getting worse, and I could feel the mate bond inside me slowly unraveling. My mind was a mess. Pack law wasn't in Luna's favor. If I tried to leave Julian, I had no doubt he'd either lock me in the dungeon or, even worse, banish me from the pack, leaving me out there as a rogue. So, I decided to head to the training grounds. Training always gave me a sense of control, and the adrenaline rush was something I needed right now. As the Alpha's daughter, I was no slouch when it came to fighting, but I hadn't practiced in ages. When I stepped into the pack's warrior training grounds, the wolf stared, surprised to see me there. Gamma Grant was there, too. He bowed slightly and said, "I'll be your partner, Luna Blair." Gamma Grant had come from my original pack. If our packs hadn't merged, he would have been my beta. Despite the pain in my gut, I skillfully dodged every one of Grant's attacks with ease. He was fast, but I was faster. He lunged at me, aiming for my face, but I blocked his punch with my forearm, kicked him in the stomach, and knocked him to the ground. The crowd watching cheered and clapped. "Go, Luna Blair, go." Grant quickly shifted into his wolf form and came charging at me. I narrowed my eyes, waiting for the perfect moment. Just when he was about to close the distance, I let Sage take over. My wolf roared loudly, meeting Grant midair, and slammed him to the ground, pinning his neck between my fangs. Grant submitted immediately, and I backed off, shifting back into my human form as the crowd erupted in applause. Gamma Grant smiled. "That was amazing, Luna Blair." I smiled, feeling a rush of accomplishment like I hadn't in ages. "I'm going to keep training," I said, ready to push myself even more. "Luna Blair," came a soft, timid voice from behind me. I gritted my teeth, already knowing who it was. You have such an excellent alpha wolf. It would be wonderful if you could help train me, Violet said, reaching out as if she had the right to touch me. No, thank you, I said, stepping aside to avoid her hand while grabbing a robe from one of the Omegas who were serving the warriors. Violet's voice wavered as she sobbed. Luna Blair, please don't be mad at me. I want to do what Alpha Julian asked me to. He said you'd be the perfect one to train with me, so I came. I raised an eyebrow, the tension around us thick and palpable. Julian requested this? Yes, she said, her eyes wide, looking quite innocent, like she hadn't just torn my life apart. But you're the beta's daughter. I'm sure you've had plenty of training. Her lips trembled, and she lowered her gaze. I lost my instincts. Alpha Blake used to beat me, never let me train. I stared at her, not buying a word of what she was saying. Had Julian even bothered to question Alpha Blake about allegedly abusing her? After all, I'd never seen any injuries on her. Please, Luna Blair, I'm begging you. Her voice cracked, getting close to tears. I know I'm nobody, but I can't disobey the Alpha's orders. I clenched my teeth, frustrated but resigned. If the Alpha ordered me to train with her, how could I refuse his command? We stood face to face on the training ground, circling each other. Her stance was solid, but the look in her eyes? It wasn't the look of someone who needed training. It was the look of someone who was out for blood. Suddenly, without warning, Violet lunged at me. She landed a solid punch, and I was taken off guard by her strength, stumbled backward. But she didn't give me time to react, following up with a kick aimed straight at my face. I raised my arms to block her leg, then quickly ducked and threw a punch at her side. She fell with a scream, letting out a vicious growl, then leaped into the air, coming at me with full force. This wasn't just training anymore. It felt like she wanted to kill me.